is only one war that matters, and it is here.
Hey everybody, party in the Dragon Pit. It's finale time, so let's break this down. But obviously there are several other storylines they have to wrap up. There's the stuff in Winterfell, there's the Night King, what he did with Viserion at the end of last week's episode, and then they have to sort of tease what's going to be happening next season. They've implied that it won't be as much of a cliffhanger, but that depends on what you define as a cliffhanger. It's always going to be some WTF moment to end the season, so technically it's always a cliffhanger, but I think they're talking about no cliffhangers as in wondering whether or not a character like Jon Snow is going to be alive. But there's a whole bunch of stuff happening in the next couple of weeks, and at the end of the video, I'll start to explain what the bonus video schedule is going to be during the off-season, as well as what's going to happen when the books drop next year. And if you didn't see the video I posted about it a couple days ago, we might actually get Season 8 sooner than we thought before, so I'll try to explain all that after we get through the footage. So starting with the King's Landing stuff, you just see Daenerys bring all of her guns and her remaining 2 nuclear weapons to bear as they meet in the Dragon Pit. So they've been very obvious about the direction they're headed. They want everybody to come together. Jon Snow even has that line where he says, there's only one war that matters, and it's here. As in, the Night King is literally on our doorstep. Time to get our shit together, but the reason why they're rolling up in formation here with her entire army, we even got the Unsullied back from Casterly Rock. They must have sent a raven between now and then. You just have to assume there's a couple weeks between this moment on the boat at the end of the episode and this moment here in the Dragon Pit. Is a visual way for them to convey to us what things will look like if they go off the rails. Like, look, we have all these people here, we can turn this into a bloodbath, as well as convey that to Cersei too. Look at everything we have. I still have 2 dragons, even though I'm assuming that she's constructed 1 or 2 new scorpions by now. We might not see those. But because Cersei's a master at throwing shade, I wouldn't be surprised if she taunts Daenerys with one of her dead dragons, or the one that they were able to wound and take down. I'm assuming she'll see them roll up with their forces and notice that she's missing one of the dragons because she knows that Daenerys has 3. So that's probably why Tyrion had that line in the last episode where he said, don't let her goad you into doing something reckless. If they attack you, then we can burn them to the ground. So just look at Cersei's face here, like she's very calculated, even though she's really excited to have this baby and she has something to live for now, there's a chance that she'll agree with Daenerys. Everyone around her is hoping that she'll listen to reason, but she's really the wild card in this situation because Daenerys has finally come around on Jon Snow, like he's agreed to bend the knee. Jaime's seeming more sensible, so if it seems like everybody is going to see the light of day, oh my god, there's a white, we need to come together, then obviously something's going to happen to throw it off the rails. But you guys can let me know what you think it is that Cersei does to completely try to destroy this plan, because I think that's the direction we're headed. And that doesn't even get into all the history and the lore of the Dragon Pit. There's so much going on in this scene here, even if you're not thinking about the plot. So we've had a bunch of different looks of King's Landing, but we've never seen the part of it where the Dragon Pit is. Like, they always film it from this side. So like Cersei in season 6, when she's watching the Great Sept blow up, if she were to turn her head a little bit to the right, she would actually see this. So it's been there this whole time. It's just that we haven't been to that part of King's Landing before. The really cool Easter egg here, though, is that Cersei, like she blew up the Great Sept to destroy her enemies, the same thing happened when the Dragon Pit was constructed. There used to be a sept there called the Sept of Remembrance, but there was a faith militant uprising. Maegor the Cruel took Balerion the Black Dread and pulled a Cersei, blew it up, and in its place built the Dragon Pit. There have been a lot of parallels this season between Cersei, the Mad King, and the more mad Targaryen kings. Maegor the Cruel is just another person that Cersei is emulating with the things that she's doing and the thought process that she's going through right now. So we're seeing the slow descent of Cersei. So this all seems like a season 8 thing, because kind of like the Night King, she's been atmospherically bad this season. Like, she's done a couple bad things, but aside from revenge on the Sand Snakes, they're just kind of stringing it along like, hey, maybe she'll turn a corner now that she thinks she's pregnant again. This baby might redeem her a little bit. The reason why I don't think that's going to happen is because of all these parallels to Maegor the Cruel and the Mad King, and the idea that the writers of the show and the producers would favor a human villain just as much as they would favor someone like the Night King. Like, Lena Headey is a fantastic actress, so even if you're not happy about the way they've changed Cersei's character, that's mostly in the name of her just being so fantastic compared to a lot of the other actors. So that's one of the big problems with the show, is that you have like a really minor character that isn't that big in the books, but they might have amazing chemistry with other characters, so they find ways to include them that they weren't in the books. Like Sir Davos got a big upgrade because Liam Cunningham is fantastic.
Last time I was here, I killed my father with a crossbow.
Last time I was here, you killed my son with wildfire.
So hopefully that answers some questions about why they're changing Cersei's character so much. But once we get the episode and we see what she actually does, maybe she does something to throw things off the rails, then we can talk about how she might be the ultimate villain of Season 8 instead of the Night King. The Night King will always be a really big villain, but he's just the personification of death. Death is coming for everyone. Cersei's a more traditional villain. So speaking of villain misdirects, going up to the Winterfell plot, so we have Littlefinger, Sansa, Bran, and Arya. They're all colliding, even though Bran seems like more of a passive participant in this. I feel like a lot of this Sansa-Arya dynamic would have been made better by Bran's presence if they would have just briefly touched on him, because he's like the one thing that can tie this all together and make Arya and Sansa realize that what they're doing is complete bullshit. Because chaos is a ladder, Bran knows about all the creepy shit that Littlefinger has done, so all we need now is for Sansa and Arya to be in proximity to Bran where he just blurts something out, because that's kind of what he does now, where he just blurts out random information that might be a big knowledge bomb, it could be something really critical, but as important as he is to the narrative, the way they've been using him this season is more for knowledge bombs, like he touches Littlefinger's dagger and just blurts out, chaos is a ladder, whether or not he fully understands the context of what was happening when Littlefinger said that. So I'm expecting a scene with all three of them where Bran blurts something out and then they sort of talk him through one of his visions as he crystallizes his information on Littlefinger, and then they use that to go against him. Like, okay, Littlefinger needs to die. There's always the chance that he could crawl into Season 8. It does seem like they have a problem this season with not killing their main characters, but because this is the finale, they have to wrap up this Arya-Sansa storyline, and I feel like Bran is the key to that. So as for the Night King, everybody's talking about what's going on with him. Is he going to break south of the wall? I feel like they're going to end on a moment with the wall coming down. But a lot of you may have recognized that they've changed a lot of rules about the mythology of the White Walkers since Season 1. They're much more specific about how you kill them. They've been very back and forth on what the rules of the wall are. Is there an enchantment? Like, has it been broken by Bran? Did that ultimately lead to nothing? Because he's still marked by the Night King. He still has that mark on his arm. So now that he has undead Viserion, he might try to fly over it or bring part of it down. He has to get his army through, so even if he could fly over, he would still have to bring part of the wall down. But a lot of times when there's a big mythology twist like that, like what are the rules? How come he can melt the wall now? In the past, they've used the previously on at the beginning of episodes, like remember all these scenes from previous episodes for big plot points. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of Bran plot point from episode 5 or when he gets touched by the Night King that they include in that, just to let you know that he was able to break the enchantment on the weirwood, and that also probably has something to do with breaking the enchantment on the wall, which is probably how they got this white that they have in the box in the dragon pit through the wall. Otherwise, it might have just crumbled to dust as they were passing through the gate at Eastwatch. But let me know, what are you guys most excited for? I know people have been back and forth on things this season. There have been a couple great mythology twists, but a lot of time has been dedicated to figuring out the way they weave the narrative just because of confusing plot points. Like, how do people travel so fast? Oh, okay, well, clearly there's multiple days happening within episodes, even though they're not very clear about that. But the really good news about Season 8 is they're going to start filming in October, which is just a little bit after they started filming Season 7 last year, meaning that there is a good chance that they can get episodes out by next summer, so we won't have to wait till 2019 anymore. But what'll happen is I'm posting bonus videos in the off-season. I'll just do updates if we have new information about what's going on with their filming, what their schedule is going to be. So if you didn't know, I do weekly Game of Thrones even when it's not in season. And most of those just wind up being things that you guys are really curious about or things you want to learn more about. Next year, we potentially have 2 new A Song of Ice and Fire books being released, Winds of Winter and Fire and Blood. So I'll do videos for those 2 when they drop. So if there are really specific videos that you guys want me to do during the off-season after the finale, just let me know in the comments. But what I might do is a video later this week on the new 3 Heads of the Dragon, because the prophecy has had a big twist recently. Maybe something about Daenerys and why she believes that she's barren, and the prophecy about how her womb might quicken again. There's a new round of that HBO Now giveaway happening. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video, And what'll happen next is my Q&A video will post on Tuesday. So while you wait for that, you can click here for my episode 6 video again, and you can click here to learn about Rhaegar Targaryen. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.